Welcome back to CreepShow, your go-to channel for mysterious and chilling true stories from history. Today, we're diving into a deeply unsettling topic: the top 10 witnesses who died suddenly under suspicious circumstances. These individuals held vital information about significant events, and their untimely deaths have fueled numerous conspiracy theories. Join us as we uncover the eerie details surrounding their lives and deaths, examining the events they witnessed and the strange circumstances of their demise. Let's explore these chilling tales in detail. Number 10. David Wherley Jr. Witnessed event. U.S. response to September 11, 2001. David Wherley Jr. was a pivotal figure during the U.S. response to the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. As the commander of the 113th Fighter Wing at Andrews Air Force Base, Wherley was tasked with critical responsibilities following the attack on New York City. Under orders from the Secret Service, he dispatched a fleet of aircraft to protect key locations like the White House and the Capitol. His decisive actions were instrumental and are mentioned multiple times in the 9/11 Commission report. Later, he served as the commanding general of the District of Columbia National Guard from 2003 to 2008. Tragically, on June 22, 2009, David Wherley and his wife Ann were among the 9 fatalities in the deadliest crash in the history of the Washington Metro. While waiting for their train to leave Fort Totten Station, their Red Line train was struck by another train at high speed. The collision left survivors trapped in the rubble for hours and injured around 80 people. An investigation revealed that a failed replacement of a track circuit component caused the accident, as it prevented certain signals from being reported. The crash was described by survivors as like hitting a concrete wall. Former Bush administration Homeland Security official Daniel Kaniewski noted that the overall emergency response to the crash was calm and ordered, indicating improvements in U.S. emergency responses since 9/11. However, the timing and nature of Wherley's death have led to numerous conspiracy theories, given his significant role in the 9/11 response. Delving deeper into the life of David Wherley Jr., we see a man deeply committed to his country. Born in Washington, D.C., Wherley grew up in a family with a strong military tradition. His father served in World War II, which inspired Wherley to follow in his footsteps. He attended the United States Air Force Academy, where he graduated with honors. His career was marked by a series of accomplishments and promotions, reflecting his dedication and expertise. Wherley's leadership during the September 11 attacks showcased his ability to handle crisis situations with precision and calm. As we explore the circumstances of the Metro crash, it becomes evident that several factors contributed to the tragedy. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, conducted an extensive investigation, highlighting a series of mechanical failures and procedural lapses. The faulty track circuit component, which failed to detect the presence of the train, was a critical factor. This failure, combined with outdated and inadequate safety protocols, created a perfect storm that led to the deadly collision. The aftermath of the crash saw a significant overhaul of safety measures within the Washington Metro system. The tragedy prompted a re-evaluation of maintenance procedures, safety protocols, and emergency response strategies. The deaths of David and Ann Wherley were not in vain, as their passing spurred critical changes aimed at preventing such accidents in the future. However, for conspiracy theorists, the circumstances surrounding Wherley's death remain suspicious, primarily due to his involvement in the 9/11 response and the numerous unanswered questions about that fateful day. Number 9. Dwight Dixon. Witnessed event. North Philadelphia shooting. On April 29, 2008, convicted drug dealer Dwight Dixon was involved in a violent altercation with former NFL star Marvin Harrison at a North Philadelphia car wash. The conflict escalated quickly, resulting in gunfire. Multiple witnesses, including Dixon, claimed that Harrison was the shooter, using two different weapons. Dixon was shot in the left hand, while two other bystanders were injured by the gunfire and shattered glass. Ballistics tests later confirmed that shell casings at the scene matched a handgun owned by Harrison, which was found at his car wash. Despite the evidence and Dixon's subsequent identification of Harrison as the shooter in an ESPN interview, no charges were brought against the former NFL star. Dixon's assertions put him at the center of a highly publicized case. On July 21, 2009, Dixon was ambushed in his car and shot multiple times. He fell into a coma and died a few months later. Before losing consciousness, Dixon told police he believed the shooting was connected to his ongoing conflict with Harrison. Despite these claims, Dixon's murder remains unsolved, and the lack of resolution has only added to the mystery and suspicion surrounding his death. Dwight Dixon's life was marked by a series of turbulent events. Born and raised in North Philadelphia, Dixon's early years were shaped by the harsh realities of urban life. His involvement in the drug trade was a reflection of the limited opportunities available to him. Despite his criminal activities, Dixon was known in his community as a complex figure, one who navigated the treacherous waters of his environment with a certain degree of savvy. The altercation with Marvin Harrison brought Dixon into the national spotlight. Marvin Harrison, a revered figure in the NFL, was known for his stellar career as a wide receiver with the Indianapolis Colts. The clash between these two men from vastly different worlds highlighted the stark contrasts in their lives. For Harrison, the incident tarnished his image, casting a shadow over his otherwise illustrious career. The night of Dixon's murder remains shrouded in mystery. Eyewitness accounts and forensic evidence suggest a well-planned execution. Dixon was ambushed in his Toyota Camry, with the gunman firing multiple shots through the back window before circling around to fire again through the passenger side. The precision and brutality of the attack suggest a professional hit, raising questions about who might have wanted Dixon silenced. In the aftermath, investigators faced numerous challenges. The case quickly went cold, with little evidence to point towards any suspects. For conspiracy theorists, the lack of resolution only added fuel to the fire. Some speculated that Dixon's murder was orchestrated to protect high-profile individuals, while others pointed to his potential involvement in other criminal activities as a motive. Regardless, Dwight Dixon's death remains an enigma, leaving many to wonder about the true story behind his final days. Number 8. Barbara Olson. Witnessed event, American Airlines Flight 77. Barbara Olson was a lawyer, author, and conservative television commentator known for her investigative work into the Clinton administration. She published several books highlighting the controversies and scandals involving Bill and Hillary Clinton. Olson's sharp criticism and revealing investigations made her a prominent figure in conservative circles. On September 11, 2001, Barbara Olson boarded American Airlines Flight 77, which was hijacked and crashed into the Pentagon. During the hijacking, Olson made 2 phone calls to her husband, Solicitor General Ted Olson, providing critical details about the hijackers' actions and weapons. These calls became a key piece of evidence in understanding the events of 9/11. However, inconsistencies in Ted Olson's accounts regarding whether Barbara used a cell phone or an onboard phone have fueled conspiracy theories. The technology for in-flight cell phone calls was not available until years later, leading some to question the veracity of the official narrative. Barbara Olson's death, coupled with these discrepancies, has left many unanswered questions about what really happened on Flight 77. Barbara Olson's career was distinguished by her fearless approach to journalism and her unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth. Born in Houston, Texas, Olson pursued a career in law before transitioning into media. Her legal background provided a strong foundation for her investigative work, allowing her to navigate complex political landscapes with ease. Olson's books, including Hell to Pay and The Final Days, offered a critical look at the Clintons, earning her both praise and criticism. The events of September 11, 2001, changed everything. Barbara Olson's presence on Flight 77 placed her at the heart of one of the most significant events in modern history. Her calls to Ted Olson provided vital information about the hijackers, including their use of box cutters as weapons. This detail became a crucial part of the 9/11 narrative, shaping public understanding of the attacks. Despite the official accounts, questions remain about the exact circumstances of Olson's calls. Initial reports suggested that she used a cell phone, but later statements indicated she used an onboard airphone. The confusion over this detail has led to widespread speculation, with some suggesting that the discrepancies point to a deeper conspiracy. In the years following 9/11, Ted Olson has remained a vocal advocate for his late wife, sharing her story and defending the official accounts of her final moments. However, for many, the unanswered questions and inconsistencies continue to cast a shadow over Barbara Olson's tragic death. Her legacy as a fearless journalist endures, inspiring others to pursue the truth, no matter the cost. Number 7. Milton William Cooper. Witnessed event. U.S. Naval Intelligence Gathering. Milton William Cooper, better known as Bill Cooper, served in the U.S. Air Force and Navy, where he worked in naval security and intelligence. He gained notoriety for his book, Behold a Pale Horse, which detailed various UFO and paranormal activities he encountered during his military service. Cooper's work also delved into government corruption, secret societies, and numerous conspiracy theories. In the 1990s, Cooper became a prominent figure on the UFO lecture circuit and hosted a worldwide shortwave radio show, Hour of the Time. He was the first to suggest that the Oklahoma City bombing involved explosive materials inside the Murrah building. Over time, Cooper's focus shifted from UFOs to covert government programs and the militia movement. He became an outspoken critic of the U.S. government, asserting that many widely accepted narratives were deliberate misinformation campaigns. In June 2001, Cooper predicted a major terrorist attack on the U.S., which he believed would be blamed on Osama bin Laden. Following the 9/11 attacks, Cooper's predictions gained significant attention. However, on November 6, 2001, Cooper was fatally shot by Arizona deputies while they were attempting to serve an arrest warrant. The circumstances of his death, especially his prediction about 9/11, have fueled numerous conspiracy theories, adding to his legend as a controversial and prophetic figure. Milton William Cooper's life was marked by his relentless pursuit of what he believed to be the truth. Born in 1943 in Long Beach, California, Cooper's early years were influenced by his father's military career. He enlisted in the Air Force and later transferred to the Navy, where he served during the Vietnam War. His experiences in the military exposed him to classified information and events that would shape his later work. Behold a Pale Horse, published in 1991, became a seminal work in the conspiracy theory community. The book covered a wide range of topics, including secret government projects, UFOs, and covert operations. Cooper's claims were often controversial, but his detailed documentation and compelling narrative drew a significant following. He accused the government of hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life and manipulating public perception through disinformation campaigns. As Cooper's influence grew, so did his list of enemies. He was vocal in his criticism of government agencies, including the FBI, CIA, and IRS. His radio show, Hour of the Time, provided a platform for his views, attracting a global audience. Cooper's warnings about a major terrorist attack on U.S. soil and his assertion that it would be blamed on Osama bin Laden were eerily prescient, coming just months before the 9/11 attacks. The events leading to Cooper's death are shrouded in controversy. According to official reports, Arizona deputies were attempting to arrest Cooper on charges related to tax evasion and brandishing a weapon. Cooper allegedly resisted arrest and fired at the deputies, resulting in a shootout that left him dead. However, conspiracy theorists argue that his death was a targeted assassination aimed at silencing a prominent critic of the government. Cooper's legacy endures through his writings and broadcasts, which continue to inspire and provoke debate. His life and death remain a testament to his unwavering commitment to exposing what he saw as the hidden truths of the world. Number 6. Kenneth Johannemann. Witnessed event: collapse of the Twin Towers. Kenneth Johannemann worked as a part-time janitor in the World Trade Center and was present during the September 11th attacks. He witnessed a massive fireball in the elevator shaft and saved a man who was badly burned. Johannemann, along with fellow janitor William Rodriguez, reported hearing loud explosions in the basement of the North Tower just before and after the plane impact, contradicting the official 9/11 Commission report. Johannemann's testimony, alongside Rodriguez's, suggested that there were additional explosions unrelated to the plane crashes, sparking significant controversy and conspiracy theories. Johannemann continued to speak publicly about his experiences until his sudden death on August 31, 2008. He died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, reportedly depressed after being evicted from his home. His death, just days before a key report on the WTC collapse, has raised suspicions among researchers and conspiracy theorists alike. Kenneth Johannemann's life before 9/11 was relatively ordinary. He worked various jobs and was known in his community as a hard-working and dependable individual. His role as a janitor at the World Trade Center placed him in the midst of one of the most catastrophic events in history. On that fateful day, Johannemann's quick thinking and bravery saved lives, but the trauma he experienced left lasting scars. The explosions Johannemann described hearing in the basement of the North Tower have been a focal point for many 9/11 researchers. His detailed account of the events, including the sequence of explosions, provided a stark contrast to the official narrative. Johannemann's testimony supported the theory that there were pre-planted explosives in the building, a claim that has been hotly debated and dismissed by mainstream reports. In the years following 9/11, Johannemann struggled with the psychological impact of the event. He frequently spoke at public events and shared his experiences, becoming an advocate for the truth about what happened that day. His sudden death in 2008 ruled a suicide, shocked those who knew him. Johannemann had been vocal about his struggles, but had also expressed a determination to continue sharing his story. The timing of Johannemann's death, just days before the release of a significant report on the WTC collapse, has fueled conspiracy theories. Some believe that he was silenced to prevent further dissemination of his testimony. The lack of thorough investigation into his death and the abrupt end to his public appearances have left many questions unanswered. Kenneth Johannemann's legacy is one of courage and resilience. His actions on September 11, 2001, and his subsequent efforts to share his story highlight the importance of eyewitness accounts in understanding historical events. His life and death serve as a reminder of the human cost of tragedies and the enduring quest for truth. Number 5. Gary Webb. Witnessed event: research into the cocaine trade. Gary Webb was a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist whose investigative series, Dark Alliance, alleged that Nicaraguan drug traffickers, supported by the CIA, had flooded Los Angeles with crack cocaine during the 1980s. Webb's article suggested that the drug profits were used to fund the CIA-backed Contras in Nicaragua. Although he never directly accused the CIA of selling drugs, he documented their awareness and implicit support of the traffickers. Webb's groundbreaking work was met with intense scrutiny and criticism, ultimately leading to his professional downfall. On December 10, 2004, Webb was found dead with 2 gunshot wounds to the head, officially ruled a suicide. The circumstances of his death have been widely questioned, given the difficulty of shooting oneself twice in the head. Despite the controversy, subsequent investigations have validated many of Webb's findings, underscoring his significant but tragic legacy. Gary Webb's career as a journalist was marked by his tenacity and commitment to uncovering the truth. Born in Corona, California in 1955, Webb began his career in journalism after graduating from Northern Kentucky University. He worked for several newspapers, earning a reputation for his investigative skills and dedication to reporting on issues of social justice and government corruption. The Dark Alliance series, published in 1996 by the San Jose Mercury News, catapulted Webb into the national spotlight. The series alleged that drug traffickers linked to the CIA-backed Contras had funneled large quantities of cocaine into the United States, particularly targeting African-American communities in Los Angeles. The resulting profits were used to fund the Contras' efforts against the Sandinista government in Nicaragua. Webb's findings were based on extensive research and documentation, including court records, confidential government documents, and interviews with key figures. The series sparked widespread outrage and debate, leading to congressional investigations and public protests. However, it also drew significant criticism from major media outlets and government officials who challenged Webb's conclusions and methodology. The backlash against Webb was severe. The San Jose Mercury News eventually distanced itself from the series, publishing an editor's note that questioned the validity of Webb's reporting. This move effectively ended Webb's career as a mainstream journalist. He struggled to find work and faced financial difficulties, but he remained steadfast in his belief that his reporting was accurate and important. Webb's death in 2004 was a devastating blow to those who supported his work. The official ruling of suicide, with 2 gunshot wounds to the head, was met with skepticism and disbelief. Friends and family members described Webb as resilient and determined, unlikely to take his own life. The unusual nature of his death has led to ongoing speculation about foul play and efforts to silence him permanently. In the years since Webb's death, further investigations and declassified documents have supported many of his original claims. The CIA's involvement in the Contra cocaine trafficking has been acknowledged, and Webb's work is now seen as a crucial piece of investigative journalism that exposed a dark chapter in American history. Gary Webb's legacy endures as a testament to the power of the press and the importance of holding those in power accountable. Number 4. Ramin Pourandarjani. Witnessed event: misconduct at the Karazak jail. Dr. Ramin Pourandarjani was an Iranian physician responsible for the medical care of prisoners at the Karazak detention center following the 2009 Iranian election protests. He treated several detainees who had been tortured, including Mohsen Ruhollah, who died from severe injuries in custody. Pourandarjani testified before a parliamentary committee about the abuses he witnessed, leading to the closure of the detention center by Ayatollah Khamenei. Shortly after his testimony, Pourandarjani was detained and interrogated by Iranian authorities. On November 10, 2009, he died from poisoning, allegedly from a salad laced with blood pressure medication. The Iranian government initially claimed various causes of death, including a car accident and suicide, but the true circumstances remain unclear. The lack of a thorough investigation and autopsy has fueled suspicions of foul play. Dr. Ramin Pourandarjani was a dedicated physician who graduated from Tehran University of Medical Sciences. His commitment to providing medical care for those in need led him to work at the Karizak Detention Center, where he encountered some of the most harrowing conditions imaginable. The 2009 Iranian election protests, sparked by allegations of electoral fraud, led to a brutal crackdown by the government, with thousands of protesters arrested and detained. Pourandarjani's role at Karizak placed him in direct contact with detainees who had suffered severe torture and abuse. One of his patients, Mohsen Ruholamini, was the son of a prominent scientist and government advisor. Ruholamini's death in custody, attributed to multiple blows to the head and other injuries, became a symbol of the regime's brutality. Pourandarjani's testimony about the conditions at Karizak and the treatment of detainees was a courageous act that exposed the extent of the human rights abuses taking place. The Iranian government's response to Pourandarjani's testimony was swift and severe. He was detained, interrogated, and subjected to intense pressure to retract his statements. His sudden death, under highly suspicious circumstances, raised immediate questions about whether he had been silenced to prevent further revelations. The official explanations for his death, ranging from a car accident to suicide, lacked credibility and only fueled further speculation. International human rights organizations called for an independent investigation into Pourandarjani's death, but the Iranian authorities were reluctant to pursue the matter. The lack of transparency and accountability has left many questions unanswered. Pourandarjani's death is a stark reminder of the dangers faced by those who speak out against oppressive regimes and the importance of protecting whistleblowers. Dr. Ramin Pourandarjani's legacy is one of bravery and dedication to justice. His willingness to testify about the atrocities he witnessed at Karizak brought international attention to the plight of the detainees and highlighted the need for accountability and reform. His untimely death remains a symbol of the ongoing struggle for human rights in Iran. Number 3. Lee Bowers Jr. Witnessed event: John F. Kennedy assassination. Lee Bowers Jr. had a unique vantage point of the area behind the grassy knoll during the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. From his position in the Union Terminal Company's interlocking tower, Bowers observed two unfamiliar men near the fence just before the shots were fired. He also noticed a strange truck parked in the area minutes before the motorcade arrived. After the assassination, Bowers described seeing a commotion or flash of light or smoke near the fence. Bowers' testimony suggested the presence of additional individuals and activities at the scene, supporting theories of a second shooter. On August 9, 1966, Bowers died in a mysterious car accident. His new vehicle veered off the road and crashed into a bridge abutment. No autopsy was performed, and he was quickly cremated. The peculiar circumstances of his death, including his strange state of shock, have led to speculation that he was silenced to prevent further revelations. Lee Bowers Jr. was a key witness in one of the most significant events in American history. Born in Texas, Bowers worked for the Union Terminal Company and was on duty in the interlocking tower overlooking the parking lot and grassy knoll on November 22, 1963. His vantage point provided him with a clear view of the area behind the fence, where he observed unusual activity leading up to and during the assassination of President Kennedy. Bowers' detailed observations, including the presence of two men and a strange truck, were significant because they suggested the possibility of a second shooter. His description of the commotion, or flash of light or smoke at the moment of the shooting added to the growing body of evidence that contradicted the official narrative of a lone gunman. Bauer's testimony was recorded in an interview with attorney Mark Lane, who was investigating the assassination. In the years following the assassination, Bowers remained a relatively low-profile figure. However, his sudden death in 1966 raised immediate suspicions. He was driving a new company car on a business trip when the vehicle veered off the road and crashed into a bridge abutment. Witnesses reported that Bowers appeared to be in a strange state of shock before the crash, a detail that has fueled speculation about the true cause of his death. The lack of an autopsy and the decision to cremate Bowers' body quickly added to the mystery. For conspiracy theorists, Bowers' death was a clear indication that he had been silenced to prevent further revelations about the assassination. The timing of his death, coming just as new investigations into the Kennedy assassination were gaining momentum, only added to the intrigue. Lee Bowers Jr.'s legacy as a witness to the Kennedy assassination is significant. His observations provided crucial evidence that challenged the official narrative and supported theories of a broader conspiracy. His untimely death remains a point of contention and speculation, highlighting the enduring mystery surrounding the assassination of President Kennedy. Number 2. Barry Jennings. Witnessed event: collapse of the Twin Towers. Barry Jennings was a New York City Housing Authority official who was at the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. He reported to the city's command center in 7 World Trade Center, where he found it deserted but with fresh coffee and sandwiches. While evacuating the building, Jennings and Michael Hess encountered an explosion that destroyed the stairwell beneath them. Jennings described hearing multiple explosions and seeing dead bodies in the building's lobby. Jennings's account contradicted the official explanation of 7WTC's collapse, which attributed it to fire damage from the nearby North Tower. He maintained that the building fell in a controlled demolition, evidenced by the explosions he heard. Barry Jennings died on August 19, 2008, just days before the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, released its report on the collapse of 7WTC. His sudden death from unknown causes has fueled conspiracy theories questioning the official 9/11 narrative. Barry Jennings' life before 9/11 was dedicated to public service. Born and raised in New York City, Jennings worked for the Housing Authority, where he was known for his commitment to improving living conditions for residents. His role placed him at the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001, where he witnessed firsthand the chaos and destruction of that day. Jennings's experiences inside 7 World Trade Center were harrowing. After finding the command center deserted, he and Michael Hess began their evacuation. The explosion that destroyed the stairwell beneath them left them trapped and struggling to find a way out. Jennings's description of hearing multiple explosions and encountering dead bodies in the lobby provided a chilling account of the events inside the building. The official explanation for the collapse of 7WTC, which attributed it to fire damage and structural failure, has been widely debated. Jennings's testimony suggested that the building's collapse was the result of a controlled demolition, a theory that has been supported by other witnesses and researchers. His detailed account of the explosions and damage inside the building provided crucial evidence that contradicted the official narrative. Jennings continued to speak publicly about his experiences, becoming a prominent figure in the 9/11 truth movement. His sudden death in 2008, just days before the release of the NIST report on 7WTC, raised immediate suspicions. The timing of his death, combined with the lack of a clear cause, has fueled conspiracy theories that he was silenced to prevent further dissemination of his testimony. Barry Jennings' legacy is one of courage and dedication to the truth. His willingness to share his experiences and challenge the official narrative of 9/11 provided important insights into the events of that day. His life and death continue to be a source of inspiration and intrigue for those seeking to understand the true nature of the 9/11 attacks. Number 1. David Kelly, witnessed event, biological warfare research in Iraq. David Kelly was a British scientist and expert on biological warfare who played a key role in investigating Iraq's weapons capabilities. He became a confidential source for media reports, challenging the government's claims about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction, particularly the assertion that Iraq could deploy biological weapons within 45 minutes. Kelly's revelations contributed to significant public and political scrutiny of the Iraq War justification. On July 15, 2003, Kelly was aggressively questioned by a parliamentary committee about his interactions with journalists. 2 days later, he was found dead near his home, having ingested painkillers and slashed his wrist. The death was ruled a suicide, but numerous medical experts have questioned this conclusion, citing the improbability of the reported cause of death. The secrecy surrounding his post-mortem files, which were sealed for 70 years, has only intensified suspicions of foul play. David Kelly's career was distinguished by his expertise in biological warfare and his contributions to national security. Born in Wales in 1944, Kelly pursued a career in science, earning a doctorate in microbiology. He joined the Ministry of Defense in the UK, where he became a leading expert on biological weapons. Kelly's work took him to Iraq as a United Nations weapons inspector, where he played a crucial role in investigating the country's weapons programs. Kelly's findings in Iraq raised significant doubts about the presence of weapons of mass destruction. He examined mobile laboratories that were purported to be biological weapons facilities, but concluded that they were not suitable for such purposes. His confidential briefings to journalists, including Andrew Gilligan of the BBC, led to reports that the government had sexed up the intelligence to justify the war. The media reports based on Kelly's information sparked a political firestorm. The government's dossier on Iraq's weapons capabilities came under intense scrutiny, leading to a parliamentary inquiry. Kelly was called to testify before the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, where he faced aggressive questioning about his role in providing information to the media. The stress of the public scrutiny and the pressure from his superiors took a toll on Kelly. 2 days after his testimony, Kelly's body was found in a wooded area near his home. The official ruling of suicide, based on the ingestion of painkillers and a slashed wrist, was met with skepticism. Medical experts questioned the likelihood of the reported cause of death, noting that the amount of blood loss from the ulnar artery would not be sufficient to cause death, especially in cold weather. The lack of a thorough investigation and the decision to seal the post-mortem files for 70 years added to the controversy. David Kelly's death remains one of the most significant and controversial events related to the Iraq War. His revelations about the government's manipulation of intelligence highlighted the ethical dilemmas faced by scientists and whistleblowers. Kelly's legacy is one of courage and integrity, and his untimely death continues to raise questions about the true nature of his demise and the broader implications for transparency and accountability in government. These 10 cases are a stark reminder of the dangers faced by those who hold critical information about significant events. Their sudden deaths have left many questions unanswered and have sparked numerous conspiracy theories that continue to intrigue and disturb us. If you found this video captivating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling stories from CreepShow. Thanks for watching and stay curious.